Welcome to the Gallatin Underground. We're Timmy and the Tourettes syndrome.
I can't wait for the rest of this show.
Yeah, holy fucking shit. But before you guys answer any other questions, are you guys wizards?
Well, hold on. We have to at least introduce and start the show.
Well, okay, audience, they're definitely fucking wizards.
So, my name's Vincent Palafox. This is Aaron Redfire.
What's up?
Today, we are interviewing Timmy and the Tourettes syndrome. And it is like a wall of sound in such a pleasant way. So, guys, would you mind introducing yourselves to the audience and kind of, little story about yourself each and what you play, what your rig is, and your little, you got to go through your pedal board there, Timmy. That's
all two of them.
Incredible. Okay, so
well, all right.
who's
I'm
first?
Scott. I'm the bass player. I play a GK 1001 RB with 15 and a couple 10s. What else do I say? I've got some pedals. So recently, for the longest time, I actually never ran any pedals. Like back in the day, a long time ago, I ran a Rat. But with Timmy, up until just like 2 months ago, literally, it was just running straight amp sound. But in the last couple months, I bought some pedals. I bought a Battalion, Electro Harmonics Battalion, and MXR carbon copy, and a reverb, Boss reverb. I'm really enjoying the different sounds that are coming out of it. I think it works really well with Timmy's sound. It fills up the void, and
Just the way we like it.
yeah, exactly. A lot more dynamic punch.
Nice.
Yeah.
So cool. So Galleon, Kruger, cab, and rack or head anyway, and then what was it? Electro Harmonics by Battalion, MXR. What's that? What is it?
Carbon copy. It's
Carbon copy.
delay.
Oh,
You know what's
delay,
really
okay.
cool about the bass setup too is that everything was quite affordable over time. The guys down at the villa, they were really easy to work with, and then Timmy actually found the GK 210 on Facebook Marketplace for a ridiculously low price.
We bargain shop. Yeah, I'm always searching for gear, so yeah, that cabinet was the score. It was like $150.
Couldn't believe it.
And it's
Sweet.
like
You
pretty
really
much-
you $150 for that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man,
The
I
whole
paid
thing.
$225 for that Black Widow I got. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the sound, but
Yeah.
I've always kind of been jealous of your rig in particular.
Well, that's kind of you to say, because the crazy thing is that 15. So a couple years ago, there was a guy selling 1001 RB plus the 15 on Craigslist, and it would come up and then it would disappear. It would come up and would disappear again, and I talked to him, and then it vanished, and it wound up down at the villa. And I worked a deal with Blue. It took me some time, but I was able to get the 15. The head is gone, but they had a used one. So it's been a piecing together kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm really liking it.
So I'm not trying to interrupt Timmy from introducing himself and running through his board and lineup, but I can't always express how much I just get that, like, I don't know, that steel pull bathtub in the bass playing. I just
That is
oh
a
my God, I
huge
just love
compliment.
that.
I was just listening to a cassette of theirs from I want to say 89 just the other day. I dug out all my old cassettes that I had from back in the day, and this one was, I think it was the one that has the picture from the Brady Bunch on it.
Oh, I'm horrible with that.
But I think it's Dale Flatham's a bass player. Yeah, incredible bass sound, just electric, thick. It's beautiful.
I love the solid sound of your bass.
Thank
but
you.
I'll let Timmy introduce himself.
I want to say one thing about Scott's rig.
Sure.
The bass guitar he got is it a 80 watt, 82?
Yeah, so this is another cool Timmy Bowers find on Craigslist. I get a call. He's like, dude, there is an Ibanez Roadstar 2 on Craigslist, and it was like $125. I was like, no way. So I went down and
it looked like brand new.
yeah, and we went down. I went down and met the guy, and lo and behold, he purchased it new at the villa in 1984. He played it for a while, and then it sat in a cardboard box. And when I bought it, it was in the original cardboard box. As soon as I came in and I saw it up against his bass rig, I was like, I'm taking it. I hadn't even played it. And this instrument, I have to say, this bass, after all the other basses I've owned, this one feels more part of me than any bass I've ever played. There's just something about it over time. It's just, it fits.
It's funny
Really
how you get
stoked.
used. It's really funny
Thank
how
you.
you get used to an instrument, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Grow with
it
it.
was like too good to be true. I called the dude up and I'm like, dude, I got an appointment. You know, I'm like, I got it lined up to meet the guy, but you should just go down there because like I'm not gonna play the fucking thing. You're gonna be playing it if you want it. You know. So
Yeah.
it's-
Yeah. It's incredible.
In the box though, the old withered cardboard box. That was the most trippiest part about it.
That it was the original box from like
Yeah.
1984.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually got pictures of the
Damn.
day you brought that to the house in the box, and I took pictures of the cardboard box and shit.
I was in disbelief because this is a great instrument. And I was playing a Music Man that had the same pickup configurations, you know, the one bridge pickup and then the two neck pickups the day before. And it was white with 3 knobs. And I was just thinking, I'll never be able to get one of these because they're, you know, they're expensive.
Right.
And then this one dropped in the next day. I was like, this is amazing.
I've been
fantastic.
interested in those Music Mans, but
Yeah, I like them.
Huh.
Pricey.
yeah, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's a super cool story. What a find. I mean,
Yeah.
keep your eyes out. You never know, right?
Yeah, and that's the crazy thing is that
No,
around
no,
here,
don't look anywhere for anything used. It's all.
Yeah,
just
there's
stay
nothing
away.
out there, guys. There's
There's
nothing.
a lot of stuff out there. That
No,
comes
there's
out.
not.
It's wild.
Like I need more shit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, your guitar, Tim.
Well, my guitar is
Made out of skateboards.
it's a Frankenstein. It's
Oh,
made out
be
of
honest.
skateboards. 3 skateboards that are sandwiched together and spaced with skate grommets. And the neck I got from Joe Knapp, aka Slow Mo Joe. And the pickups I got from my bandmates in Scavenger.
Nice.
2 of them are from a Les Paul Epiphone Les Paul, and then the other one's from an American SG. So I got 3 humbuckers in it that were all given to me, and then I spent like $15 on the bridge and stripped the electronics out of another old guitar. I took the 5-way switch and the volume and tone knobs out and unwired them from the pickups they were hooked up to, and I labeled the pickups so I knew how to wire it back together because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just had a solder gun. Just reckless.
Oh, really?
But I just labeled all
out.
the wires, and then I hooked up the humbuckers the same way the single coils were hooked up, snipped off with the exposed wires, and then I tested it and it worked, and I was like, holy shit, it works. So then I strung it up, and it actually tuned, and it plays. But I got a couple other ones, too.
Yeah, I'd like to bring that up if I can interject. This is the 3rd generation. Timmy's got like a freshman and a sophomore and a senior. They all have personalities.
I
Pretty
think
cool,
that
for sure.
I think the first time that I seen you guys, you were already on the 3rd generation. It was
think so.
probably it was a filling station show that night.
I remember that.
2 or 3 years ago, something like that.
Yeah.
Was it winter?
Yeah,
It was winter.
It was.
It
It
was
was a pretty
cold.
sparse crowd. You were right there.
Oh my
It's like,
God.
who is that guy? He's dancing around.
Was that the night you gave us the $2 bill, or was that?
That was the night because I was like, man, I really dug your set, but I don't have any money, but I want your CD. And you're like, well, what do you got? And I'm like, well, I don't know if I want to give it to you, but I got a $2 bill. And then you're like, well, I happen to like $2 bills or something like that. And I was like,
We're a
all right, you
two-piece
got
band,
yourself,
bro.
You got yourself
Yeah.
a deal. I can't quite remember the exact verbatim, but yeah, I was struck, and then it sold band ever since.
Well, we kept your dollar, and it's right up there on the cork board. Right there it is.
Oh my God, it is.
Nice. That's so
And then you were telling us about a song you recorded, and I went home that night and I listened to it, and it was awesome.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't remember what that was, but
It was
thanks.
3 years ago. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Recorded
Yeah.
a couple songs since then.
So the whole guitar thing, the other guitars are just like literally I put a call out to Facebook friends and social media friends, like, hey, if anybody's got any junk guitar parts, necks, anything, knobs, pots, whatever the hell you got, I'll take it. If you want to, give it to me, I promise I won't resell it to make zillions of dollars.
You guys definitely.
But really,
seem
I just like
type.
Nate Howe, Jimmy Kehoe, Big Jimmy,
Big
and
Jimmy.
Slow-Mo Joe are the four people besides where I've harvested skateboards from. Some have been my own, and some of them. This one's a really good friend of mine, Dave Goff. Actually, this was one of his boards, and he just was through with it, and he was like, "You want it?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I just made a guitar out of it. So I mean, the boards have they still have like a connection to friends, and everything about the guitars, like it's like a thing that I created to have my own sound, not to like make money. You know what I mean?
Definitely
Like,
have your own sound.
I don't want to sell them. A lot of people have asked me, how you should sell them, and then I'm like, well, that kind of takes away from the authenticity of me having that. I just made it myself, and I'm really a drummer, so it's kind of ironic that I somehow did it with minimal tools like hand files, cordless jigsaws, drills, and sandpaper, and hand sanders, palm sanders, stuff like that. So.
I think it fits your guys' music so perfect, it's not even funny.
Yeah, you guys are like
thanks, man.
the epitome of
That's
DIY.
a huge compliment.
That's another huge compliment.
But
Thanks,
like
Aaron.
the jam room is just like inside of a garage, just cardboard off. $22 you said you put up the wall for?
Yeah, I spent some money on some
But it's
mattresses.
so awesome. I mean, and it's the perfect jam spot for the two-piece band. And when you're listening to these guys, you'd think, what is there, like 12 guys in this band or something? No, it's just two dudes. You got Scotty on the bass, you got Timmy on the guitar and the drums
And vocals.
So speaking of the drums, your drum setup, you play standing up. You want to talk about that for a minute?
Oh, sure, man. It's that's another just kind of full circle kind of thing for me, because when I'm a short dude, and I've always just been like the short guy, and whatever, I don't care. But the whole reason I'm bringing that up is because when I first started to play drums, I had to learn standing up, because I couldn't reach everything, because back, whatever year it was like 1974 when I started to try to like really play drums. I was like 4 years old, but I had a regular size kit that my parents found for like $50. It was a red Sparkle Jet Set, 2-piece, 3-piece. It had a rack tom, no floor tom, and just a kick and a snare, one cymbal, and a hi-hat. And I played it standing up because I couldn't reach anything.
And then
I was like super short. I was like 4.
But
so
you
anyway,
got used to playing standing up.
well, that's the thing, is I played standing up for a long time, and then my dad like heckled me a little bit, like, "Hey, you got to learn how to play that bass drum and the hi-hat at the same time. You're not gonna go anywhere, kid. You got to learn how to play sitting down." So I'm like, well, he's right. I think that's like the first time maybe that I actually admitted to myself that my dad was right. I'm like,
At 4 years old.
fuck. No, this was a little later. That was a little later. I was like 11 years old. But then I was like, okay, I guess I got to learn how to play sitting down. So it was like a whole ordeal for me. Like, I literally had to like relearn how to play sitting down because I couldn't do it.
Huh.
So that was like, back to this drum kit, my parents like bought it for me in '86. And I held on to it just because I'm a pack rat and a memorabilia freak and stuff. And so I just like modified the drum kit into a stand-up kit and jammed as much, as many hoo-haws and jinglings as I could in there to make it interesting and fun for Scotty. And that's the thing with him, is his bass playing so busy when we like improv and do our thing, whatever, and morph over to drum and bass mode, we just kind of go for it, and
It
that's
fits so much better with all the loops and everything that you're running through. Because at first, when we first started out, Timmy would sit down. He would take his guitar and set it in a rack, and it would feed back or do whatever he did. This has been an evolutionary process. And then one day, it's like the stand-up kit, and
Yeah,
then
like-
it was incorporating the loops, creating like a scene with the sound, and then playing that back while he was playing the drums, which just ramped everything up. You know, it was.
I
really
remember
cool.
I called Scotty up and was like super jacked because I was like, man, I built a stand-up drum kit and I think I'm gonna like try to like do that with, because like I said, like when the Tourettes first started out, it was a one-piece noise project with me, and I just needed something to do because I had kids and I was at home a lot with my kids, and I bought a $90 guitar from the Villa.
Nice.
I bought my first electric guitar from there. It was a Yamaha. I still have it here somewhere in the corner over there. I'm actually going to make a skate guitar out of it because it has
nice.
guts still. I've stripped a bunch of shit off of it, but anyway, that's kind of how it started. I would play sitting down, and I had a guitar that Nate Howe gave me, and I built like a metal slide on a drumstick. And I played the guitar with a drumstick with a metal slide on it, and just beat the shit out of the guitar basically, and like
Still pretty
gouge
cool.
like
Still pretty cool.
like gouge these like lines into the neck from like playing it with this like 2-pound slide. But you know, there's another thing I want to mention about the scene here, where just because it made me think of it, is like slide guitar and stuff is like people like Mario and just. Folks like that are out there building insane stuff that totally motivates me to like
The new fuzz
be,
pedal he just
yeah,
came out
I mean,
with,
like,
I'm
props to the whole
jealous.
everybody in the scene around here, and
Definitely.
just the efforts that get put into
I think I might
like
have a fuzz pedal in
shows getting brought into
lineup
town, and just, you know, that's like a huge inspiration to want to keep playing.
So
just-
many other people jumping
yeah.
on. Yeah, it's very cool. The
Scotty's a
scene's
huge
a lot of
inspiration. I mean, he's in
Well,
bands
He's
that
a
I
huge inspiration. I mean, I could only strive to play bass like you.
Well,
someday.
man, everybody just does what they do, and I think that's the most important thing about music and about art in general is there should really never be any comparisons. I think there should just be maybe motivation. Yeah, I know the people that I listen to that inspire me. A lot of them are at a level that is just like a wow. But we just do what we do and try to make it happen, and that authenticity comes through. I think with art, that's the great thing about it. It's individual. And I just want to say, along with what Bowers just said, is the scene. There's so many good bands. It's really cool to see, and different venues, and festivals, and a lot of different types of music. It's really cool.
I think that
really cool.
one of my favorite parts about being in this area is definitely the diversity in music. I mean, obviously, I have my likes
Yeah.
and, you know, the genres that particularly call to me, if you would.
Oh, you
But,
bet. Yeah.
I mean, I definitely love how much music there is here, because I've gone out on nights and heard like big band and like, this is awesome.
Yeah.
What was it, Eagles like every Sunday or something?
Yeah, exactly.
Those,
Yeah,
guys, those
yeah.
guys kill it. Those
Yeah,
guys
they
are
do.
awesome. You know,
Old-timers.
And there's like the all the reggae bands and the funk bands. We've got ska
Bluegrass.
bands, bluegrass bands.
Hippie grass.
There's country bands.
Yeah.
There's
Punk
all
and metal.
like
Yeah.
sort of mix in between metal, punk, pop.
Rap.
yeah, it's Bond.
There's a rap community here.
There is rap.
Yeah,
There's
there's
rap.
rap.
There's
Yeah.
techno. There's like electric music. They got some like synth wave and trance and a lot of kind of just new artists that are just trying something that other people haven't heard of before. It's incredible. It's great to be part of music right now.
I
It
agree.
is, yep. We have
Witness the
a blossom.
bravery.
I hate to use the word blossom, but we have a blossoming scene. I mean, it just seems to keep, even though we are losing the zebra, which totally sucks.
Yeah.
Does suck.
But it's like an evolution, just like everything else in the music around us and
Yeah.
the music we create. It's like an evolutionary process. And like, I don't know, if you would have told me like, 20 years ago, I've lived in Montana now for 25 years. And if you had told me that I'd like build a skateboard guitar and I'd play it and I could, cause I mean, it was intense for me to even learn how to play guitar standing up. It was like a jubilant moment for me. I'm like, cause I used to just sit around, hang out with my kids. I'd be like, oh, I got a song. I'll try to remember that. That's neat. And then I bought a looper that had like It was like the cheaper version of the one I have now, but I recorded a couple beats, and I'm like, oh, that's cool too. I can like record a beat and play along with it at home, and so with that whole evolution, it's like, who would ever think? I would have never thought in 100 million trillion years that I'd build a guitar, let alone even be able to play it. So I'm happy. I'm stoked. I feel like. I almost feel like if I had never moved to Montana, none of that would have ever happened. You know?
I
Absolutely.
hope that's true.
I think
I
you're
really
right.
feel that way. I mean,
Yeah.
so thank you, Montana, and
Yeah.
all those there within.
The listeners, the players.
Yes, the players.
And the other states that are listening.
Hey, so
Yeah.
Timmy, can you tell me about these 2 massive pedal boards that you got here?
Yeah, sure.
How many pedals are there on that, first of all?
Well, one of the pedals is actually just for my drum loops, so it's obsolete. It's the drummer. But there's 12, I believe. There's 7 in the green suitcase, and there's 4 in the gray one. So yeah, there's 11, and then 12 with the drum looper.
Nice.
It's so decked out too, like the inside of your pedal boards, like, because they're in suitcases, right? There's like stickers and like little like pieces of art and stuff, and like you even have a lamp that's made from an old cymbal hanging from your drum kit to illuminate the pedals.
The only problem with that lamp is it scares people away.
Yeah, there's stories behind that light.
I like it.
It's got a ghostly vibe.
Oh, so it's haunted too.
It's very haunted
Yeah,
light, yes,
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
Yeah, we were playing in Jester's, and that was an experience. We're super stoked to play there. It just was kind of odd. And while we were playing, the guy from the bar behind the bar came up and he told Timmy to turn his light off because he was chasing people away with the brightness of the light. We're both just going, what are you talking about? Because really there was only one audience member. It was this crazy looking caveman
It was
who
so
dragged
crazy.
3 chairs up at the same time that were all linked up. And after every song, we'd just be like, yeah, another one. So we
And he
didn't
had,
scare him
but I
away.
gotta
It was
interject a
insane.
point about the guy. He had a GoPro camera mounted around his neck like Flavor Flav, dude. He was like wearing this GoPro like Flavor Flav,
Caveman.
and he was like, you know, he was literally the only dude that was up in the very front, and he was just like the chairs were turned around backwards, and he was sitting on the chair backwards, just looking at us like, hell yeah. And we were just like, what the fuck is going on, dude? Like, first it's the light. It's like a 40-watt, like,
Not
incandescent.
even,
or
right,
something, you know,
right.
like, it's
I don't
fucking
know.
low beam, bro.
And then after that happened, the caveman guy yelled at the bartender, told him to fuck off. He's not from here. He's not even from Helena.
Yeah, he was. But then, so the story
nice
behind
guy.
the camera, the guy was wearing the camera in case the cops fucked with him because he just got out of the slammer for doing time. So he's like, if they fucking touch me, man, I'm getting the GoPro rolling, man. He was like Randy fucking Savage.
Yeah. Our fan, our Helena Jesters fan.
So we did
Super
score
shout
that
out
one
to him.
fan, and it was so
Super shout
trippy.
out.
They had a line when you brought the gear in, you know? You brought gear in, and they're like, you have to load your gear in, but it has to stay behind this line painted on the floor. We were piling it all over by the stage, and they're like, no, it's got to go over there.
It was the smallest area, and we have like Timmy's got a Mesa. It's a combo head cabinet, and then he's got another cabinet. Then he's got all
got
of
a
his
ton of
drums.
junk.
Then he's got his suitcases. At that time, I was doing the 410 with the head. So we've got all this gear to fit literally in this tiny little. It looked like 2x3 spot.
It was like a
You
batter's.
shall not
It was
cross
like
the line.
It was great though.
Yeah, it was fun.
We had a fun show, and there were
Yeah.
some really kick-ass bands that played.
Yeah. One guy had like 1,000 pedals. It looked like.
Yeah, he had like
keyboard.
he had
Holy
like
shit, I thought
twice,
he had-
literally like twice as many pedals as me. He had like 28
Whoa.
pedals or something,
Yeah.
and he had
Oh,
keyboards, and yeah,
Yeah.
it was. But yeah, it was a cool show. But I did turn off the light.
Oh, well.
A little heckling.
Yeah.
I gave a little heckle. I'm like, well, the light show up here seems to be a little too bright, so I'm gonna unscrew the bulb. We made light of it.
Yeah, at least you get to do that.
So what is
Yeah,
your
so the
favorite
yeah, but-
pedal on that board of yours?
Say that again.
What's your favorite pedal on that board of yours?
That's a trick question.
He's like,
Are they all your
I
favorite
like, I really like the delay, the TC triple flashback delay, because the thing about it, and I actually had to like search to find it, is that you can run all 3 delays at the same time. Like with all the Line 6 pedals I have, you can run 1 effect at a time, and that's it. But with the delay, you can run 3 delays. You can morph. You can do a lot of stuff. You can do reverse delays and space delays and analog, modulated analog delays all at the same time.
That's
so
intense.
that one's really cool. But the one that I like the distortion, the Line 6 distortion, and I'm not much of a distortion modulator guy, but that pedal actually got it from an old bandmate of mine, Pat Helwick. Shout out to Pat. And it was toasted. He's a big dude. He's got a big foot. And he just must have just stomped the shit out of it after spilling beer on it many, many times. And it just didn't work anymore. And he's like, if you can make it work, you can have it. And so I stripped it completely apart, like completely cleaned it, put it back together, and it worked. I was like, whoa, wow. What do you know? I mean, it's kind of like how everything goes with what I build, though, with the guitars and everything. It's like, oh, wow. Surprise, surprise, it works.
I mean, for us coming into this room, I would have never have thought that, like, you guys were the frugal shoppers. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
Timmy's got like the
time.
most badass shit, like the coolest drums, the best like guitar rigs, the coolest pedal boards. Scotty's got like some super badass cabin head,
His
and
cabin head
super
looks
simple lineup and solid ass bass. And I'm like, fuck, man, I only wish. But
Just takes time.
You guys
piece
just
it together.
slowly.
I
found
started
it.
out with
Yeah.
like, I think I started with the Line 6, the distortion modeler, and then I got the DD6 delay, and then from there I just kind of built stuff from there. And my bandmate and scavenger Joey, he's gone through a lot of pedals he didn't like, and he's like, hey, you want to buy this pedal?
Of
So
course.
so he just like,
used you.
So
as
then I
his,
start
like,
bugging him
slave
about
to
the pedals
buying
he-
his used pedals.
yeah, I'm like, hey, you want to sell that pedal you don't want to get rid of?
I have to throw this in too. It's out of economic necessity. I mean,
Oh, absolutely.
You know,
Yeah.
have
None
a
of this is
family,
cheap.
you got to pay the bills. So this rig, I mean, I never would imagine that I would have had this, but the only reason why this happened was that there were great people out there that allowed it to happen, and it took time, and they were willing to wait for money or wait for art or whatever it took. It just takes patience.
Yep. The Villa,
Not always easy.
The
but
Villa helped me out a bunch too with this, like with that my drum looper. Like it was so weird because I took mine in, and I traded it for like an 8. I forget what another piece of equipment. I just traded it off, and I told him, hey, if you guys get the upgraded beefier one, let me know. And literally like the next day, Joe calls me and he's like, dude, it's weird the RC20 just rolled in here for $1.99. You want it? And I'm like, hell yeah, man, I'll be right down there. So I mean, like, those guys are looking out for the local musicians, and
Without a doubt.
That's really nice.
so that
to
helps.
know.
I got the purple this filter modeler. I got that for $90 from the Villa. I mean, it's like a $300 pedal.
That's a steal
so-
of a deal.
I mean, I definitely search. I spent a little bit of a chunk on this pedal, the modulation. But
Line 6.
it was like something I bought off Reverb that has like a feedback button on it, so you just can like step on it. And it feeds. It's just
I
like
do love that
fucked up
aspect
feed.
of
It's
your
just
guys'
what
songs.
everybody's ears want to hear.
Speaking of what everybody else wants to hear, what songs do you guys have for us next? Or what song? What's next?
You want to play the ditch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Tried to make it over the junk you found out it was only a speed bump. No print on the page, no lines on the road. This is a story going out of cruise control. Locked up in Lakeville, you're the only one. You cannot deny it. No road in the future, no lines in the past. This is a story not down to
That was fucking far out, guys. Holy shit. Good job. I'm fucking
Thank
blown
you.
away.
Fun having you here, man.
Yeah,
It's
it was
relaxed.
incredible.
It's,
really cool.
I keep forgetting that I'm doing an interview.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like
So
I'm
do
at a
I. Me
show.
too.
Like, I got a beer right
That's
now.
good, I
like,
guess.
This is amazing. So I want to hear the story about how you guys came together, because it seems like you have a very awfully strong bond, and like this project is like barely a part of that.
That is so kind, that observation. That's really cool. Yeah. So back in 2006, I was working on a project down in Victor, Idaho. I was a painting contractor full-time then. Now part-time painting contractor and work for the state as a painter. But I put an ad in the newspaper. I was looking for a subcontractor. And this guy called, Timmy, and he sounded really cool on the phone. And I said, well, this is where I'm working. If you want to come down, come on down. So he shows up, and we meet in the parking lot. It was like over by the Knotty Pine.
Yeah, it was like a classified ad, in a newspaper that I called.
Yeah. Total happenstance.
The Knotty Pine, like in Dillon?
No, the Knotty Pine down in Victor, Idaho.
Oh, in Victor, Idaho.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we had like never met. We just talked on the phone, and I was working on this job, and I really needed a hand. So this guy rolls in, and we meet, and we hit it off, and then we get to the job. And
Well, we looked at each other's music collection, remember?
And that's what, yeah, we
That
were on
was-
the site, and we started looking at one another's CDs and cassettes, and we're like, holy shit, you like Fugazi? Yeah. You like Slim Cessna?
You like the Minutemen?
Yeah.
You like
yeah.
like Lee Scratch Perry? There's like
Yeah.
all these things that.
Musical connections.
Yeah.
And it was insane because it's really rare, I found in my life, to meet people who who have an eclectic musical interest.
Especially in our trade, being a painter.
Right.
You're just
I mean,
like, hey,
there's a lot of music out there. There's a lot of metal, like butt rock. But to me, but also I have to throw this out too, that a lot of painters are super creative, I think,
they are.
by nature. And so
We're usually the ones on the job that are playing the rowdy music that piss
Yeah.
all the other guys off. That's
Yeah.
what I'm trying to say
Yeah,
there.
like to actually meet somebody who knows about the Melvins and has known about them for a long time.
And then it turns out that Scotty was like in a band that I'd seen like at the Filler like years ago before we even knew each other. So I was like, oh no shit, you're a bass player.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, because my musical thing started back in the 90s, and then I played locally till like 2000, and then Family Life. But anyway, it was just really crazy, and we hit it off as friends. I do have to tell a pretty cool story. We were in Victor, Idaho, which is really, there's like 2 bars, and up the road is maybe a small town square center. And while we were there, Dwayne Burnside and his band showed up, RL's son, which I love RL Burnside, and his kid is an amazing guitar player.
Badass.
Dwayne
Burnside.
Dwayne Burnside. So we go see the show. So here's some heavy duty. The drummer and the bass player were from Chicago. Dwayne's from Mississippi. There's hardly anybody in the venue. We see this incredible show. We hang out with the band afterwards.
Charles, that was the drummer. Charles.
Here's something kind of funny though. So Timmy was standing up front, and Dwayne's up there with his guitar, and he's shredding, and he puts his guitar down. This was kind of like
I totally
this
forgot
is
about
kind of
this
like
shit.
a future trip right here. This is the past coming to the present. Dwayne took his guitar and he put it down by Timmy, and Timmy did this like tap, tip, tap, tip, tap, tip, and Dwayne said, "This boy's trying to steal my job."
No, he said this white boy's trying to
He's
steal my job.
Yeah, and we were like,
I didn't know
"Holy
what
shit!"
the fuck. I was just hammer-ons on his neck, and I was like,
There were some serious musical heads. I mean, they
That's
were
an
much
incredible
older than
story.
us, and they were telling us, they were imparting knowledge, and then from there, we worked together on a lot of different jobs, and musically, we've had some experiences. Like at one point, we worked in Deer Lodge. It was tense winter, living in my camper, and then
KOA.
yeah, and then we go
The
up to the
hepatitis
job.
woman.
Up to the job, which was like 21 miles. This is deep winter in Deer Lodge, which is not that much fun. But we come back to the camper and have like jams, like pot and pan jams,
And an acoustic guitar. Yep.
Yep. And then we did all these different projects together over the years. Like I left, but we still connected and worked in Montana. And then at one point we were
We
painting.
did some hell jobs together
Yeah.
where we literally was just like, the fact that we liked the same kind of music was just like, we were just like, rock the fuck on. We must turn the music up because it's the only thing that's going to make us sane right now.
Desolation. Ranches. And,
Pushing through the work days is always a
Pushing hard.
challenge.
Yeah. But so back to the guitar and Timmy Bowers. We were in Kalispell. It was 2011, January 2011.
It's got a sharp memory.
We were working in
Way
Kalispell
better
together,
than
and we
mine.
were staying at the Best Western, and Timmy brought his guitar up, and he turned me on to like the Daughters.
I brought everything. I brought all my pedals I had at the time, my whole setup with me
Just
because I'm
because.
like, this is gonna suck if I'm gonna have like separation anxiety, not from my family, but from my equipment.
Yeah, and we were working 7 o'clock at night till 7 in the morning, so it was a hell
Well,
ride.
I mean, I
fully.
guess to be fair, you guys were there for how many months?
We were in Kalispell for like a month. But
month?
we were in Deer Lodge for like 3 months, and then we went to Phillipsburg for 4 months. And Timmy brought his camper up. We've just done these lot of remote projects together. But it has been the music because, you're working on some place in the middle of nowhere. It's 8 o'clock at night in July, and you're rocking tunes. It just makes
It's
everything
motivation,
so much better.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So then when I moved back, I wanted to get back into the bass because I put it down for a while because of just responsibilities.
Can I say one thing
You
back
bet.
to this story? And
Yeah.
then right back to your
Yeah,
thing?
yeah.
When Gorski and I were up working at that job at the wherever it was, the Best Western Holiday Inn or whatever it was,
Yeah.
he'd come over and we would like hang out in the room and just like, kill time. And I'm like, dude, I got songs. Listen to this song, and I'd rock. And he would just literally, we'd be so wiped out from work. I'd be all like fucking strung out from work, like, oh, yeah. And he'd be like passed out, and he like wake up and be like, you'd just be like, wow, that was incredible. What the hell was really cool. And then some of those actual songs are songs that we like play together now.
Which is
anyway,
super
no
cool.
shit.
This is another tangent is a lot of the music that Timmy brings is stuff that he's played a long, long time ago. So it has this other history, and then we just take it and harness it and make it better.
But your like interconnection makes the song what it is that it couldn't be
Right on.
before. So that's just kind of like,
Yeah.
it's kind of like beating an old rug. It's like, do I really want to keep playing this song? I'm like, well, I've never really played it before, even though it's like 20 years
Never
old.
really played it before because now I hear it with a new light.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I
So
love it
then
when that
when I
happens.
moved back, I kind of realized that there was never going to be a point in my life where there wasn't some amount of chaos, and I better get a bass guitar and start playing it now because if I wait till I'm old and everything's calm, then
I might
that's
have to
not it.
correct you on that. You define that chaos. I define that creative energy.
Well, thank you. I know, and what I mean by chaos, and chaos can be beautiful, but I have a busy life, responsible life, and I needed an outlet. Yeah, right. I needed an outlet, and
And I knew like deep down inside that he was a badass bass player, but I just knew that when we were like working together, we were just so busy with work, and our kids were younger.
Well,
but now
yeah,
our
yeah.
kids are like grown up, and I was just like, hey, dude, you should sit in at a gig in Big Sky at it was at the Broken Spoke,
Yeah,
and he
first
learned
show.
like 4 songs and came up and played with me. And I did like 5 songs one piece, and then he came up and rocked 4 songs, and I was like, that's it, dude. That's it. You're like
Part of the band.
you've reached the point of no return.
oh, it's super
we
cool.
are a band now.
'Cause
What's our band name?
I saw Timmy play up at Scissor Bills by himself, and I had never seen anything like it before. And then we got together, and it's actually this July will be 4 years. And we played the show at Scissor Bills, and like Timmy mentioned, I came up like after the 5th song, and we played the last 4 songs together. And then after that, we just started crafting hard, and it's made life so much better. It's just,
Yeah.
it's hard to define. It's hard to verbalize just what a connection it is to play music with your friend and to just get back into music. It's beautiful.
stoked you wanted to do it because, I mean, no one was forcing him to.
Fuck, I was stoked.
hoping you would,
Yeah. No, that's
Yeah.
that's
It's
so,
super
so
cool.
amazing to find somebody that you're connected with like that in a way that you guys both just understand what the other part needs for that music to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's definitely been like a metamorphosis for sure. Like
Yeah.
we've grown a lot as everything in the past 4 years for sure. Music's definitely kept it
Really
like
cool.
where
It's
like
real.
kept us basically sane.
Yeah.
What?
If you
Yeah,
wanna-
but just to a certain degree, just because, I mean, life is like this great, beautiful thing, and it's also trying. You have to do things every day that you don't necessarily want to do, but you have to do. And for me, having a creative outlet and then being able to share that with my friend and take it to like the next level, like to sit in my house and play my bass by myself, that's fun, but it's not the same thing as, rocking
coming
out
here
with Timmy and
practicing.
practicing.
We try to practice like once tonight's our practice night.
Right.
That's why we were like, yeah, you should come on out, man.
Sweet.
And it's fun.
So-
Because it's super fun, actually.
I think that's probably my favorite part of this interview is that I mean, I know we are intruding in your guys'
Not
space
at all.
and we cram all our stuff into your house too, but it just really feels like we're just watching your practice. It's so cool. It's so
Awesome.
cool to like get like the whole scoop of what's going on right here.
And you guys really enjoy what you're doing. You get super into it when
Oh,
you're
it's
playing.
so
Like
cool.
it's super fun to watch. Like
Oh, cool.
You-
man.
you guys
are awesome.
like,
Thank
That's
you.
really
I know you got like
You never know what you
mic
look
set
like.
up above the stand right now, so we probably won't be able to see the gymnastics that you can perform with the drumsticks. But I think that one of my favorite parts or favorite shows that I watched you guys at was the Eagles, and I mean, for those of you who missed it, you missed out because it was incredible. The snaps you were doing, you were launching those sticks like 6-7 feet in the air, catching them right in beat, and just continuing. I mean,
That's like
that's impressive.
I just do it for it's fun. It's just for fun. It's like
But you enjoy it. You enjoy it so
Yeah.
much that, and watching you is like, it's just like blip blop, click clack, and you're just smiling, and you're like, yeah, I fucking
there's
love
been
it.
some times where I've almost taken Scotty out with a fucking rogue stick, you
I've
know,
had
where
to
they just
duck.
go flying, or you know, I've dented my. I almost took out my drum looper with a stick. It's got like a perfect dimple from the tip of my drumstick, just bashing right in between the lights on the on the stomp side. So it's, but yeah, it's fun just doing it's like kind of like. A circus. I hate to say it that way, but it's like juggling.
It's absolutely.
It's like
a circus.
juggling. It's like
Watching
maybe
you
I'll
guys-
catch it, maybe I won't. But that kind of adds to the whole
Risk.
Yeah.
the risk and reward of oh well, it's
Risk
just
and
it's
reward.
It's
But
fun.
but when
to
you
just,
pull it off, it's priceless. It's
it's
just
super
like,
fun
yeah,
and
super cool.
that's why I have so many freaking sticks.
Oh,
I dropped
and
six.
I've watched you launch a couple here and there, but you never miss a beat. It's incredible.
Yeah, I'm more worried about that than catching the stick. It's
I
man,
I know
I'm
you're
gonna
like,
have,
oh, sorry, girl, that I poked
it's
your
like
eye out in
I'm
the crowd.
chasing the stick around oh god, this is silly, man. What the hell?
Take a chance.
What do you think
Cool.
you guys' reason for calling yourself Timmy and the Tourettes is?
is it
That's a
South
Timmy
Park?
answer.
Well, okay, I got the perfect answer because that was when I was still a one piece. I considered my pedal boards the Tourettes. My pedal boards that was the Tourettes. That was all the gibberish and maybe some stuff in there you didn't want to hear.
The emotional outburst.
Yeah, and that was where because I was just I was in another band in Bozeman a long time ago called the Swiss Family Parkinson's. So there's always just been this kind of bad disease theme going on, and I'm like, why I don't know why
Disease
that's
theme.
happening. But it's just kind of just the same thing. It's was to just kind of be silly and not to take myself too seriously as a musician, because sometimes, we all know that happens. It's out there.
It's
Right.
so
And
easy.
so it's just nice to
for
ground
wanna have
yourself
fun.
and just be like,
A little goofy.
and I just then when Scotty joined the band, I was like, are you cool with that? I mean,
I
The
am.
name can be offensive to people. I mean,
It's
I don't
not.
think it's
It's
offensive.
not.
my mom.
It's not meant
My
to
mom
be.
has questioned it, but that's perfect. I'm
Yeah.
glad because otherwise she wouldn't be my mom. So.
And she probably wouldn't have listened to your music.
Yeah, and she's been supportive. If it wasn't for my parents, shout out to my parents because they've been my biggest support. My grandfather got me into drumming. My mom and dad let me be loud and let me practice in the basement my whole life. I was in a punk rock band when I was in '86 is the first kind of era of when
almost
I
as long as
was
I've been alive.
practicing in the basement and driving my parents crazy,
That's so awesome.
So the parents.
I'm glad you were playing punk rock when I was born.
Yeah.
That's so fucking cool.
That is great. I hope I influenced you, man.
Oh, you have no idea how much influence your guys' band is to me personally. But
Well, that's
That's
great,
really
man.
kind.
I mean,
Thank you.
That's the hugest compliment is just to
Absolutely.
impact everybody with music and
Because
do
you're
it in a
taking
positive way.
You're
And
taking a chance when you do your art. You're going to get some kind of emotional response, whether you're liked or not liked, or that's indifferent. And so it's very cool to hear that. Thank you, Vincent.
oh no,
Yeah.
no, thank you guys.
Art is king.
yeah, and Scott and I
Seriously.
are like more than bandmates. I mean, we're literally best friends. I mean, we've
Absolutely.
gone through a lot of shit together. We've worked together. We've suffered together. We've fucking wanted to pound each other for being a smart ass together.
And more than one time.
Yeah, it's typically me.
Yeah, well, he's like my younger brother.
Yeah, he's like my older brother.
Sometimes when somebody's just that far out of line, you just have to at least give them the punch that is like, look.
Well,
I mean, it doesn't have to be like a clocker. Doesn't have to like.
It can be like an
blacken you.
ego
Just
punch.
like a gut punch or straight to the chest.
Yeah.
Just like a solid, just yeah. You're not trying to hurt him. You're just like, hey, dude, look at me. I'm your friend.
Dude, he's an
Chill out.
he's an encapsulated tsunami just waiting to burst. I mean,
well, and it's also goes back to the art thing. I think when people take their art seriously, sometimes they're easily offended, and that's part of it too. Maybe, at least it is. I don't know.
So I have a quick question.
Yeah.
What would you guys consider the genre of your band?
I mean, that's one thing is we're like try to defy actual genre because
Congratulations. I think
how
you've done it.
Yeah,
How we
I would
write-
agree. Like, I
I
don't
mean,
think
how
there's any
we-
one word you could use to describe
how we
any-
craft songs is like playing bingo, dude. I mean, it's like a game of bingo. I mean, I don't know how else to say it.
There's
It's like
so
we
many
don't
influences.
we don't sit down and write music. I don't know how else to say it. Things come to us, ideas come to us, but we don't typically just sit down and be like, we're gonna write this song. It's like these little like
Does it start
bursts
off-
of ideas with.
So
poetic energy.
I mean, as a musician, I think I can relate to you at least in some sense. But for you, and in your guys' experience, does it come to you in like short little bursts? Like maybe you get like 30 seconds or a minute one day, and then like maybe 2 weeks later, you're like, oh shit, here's like a really super dope part for this, and then like 3 weeks later or 4 weeks later, you're like, no, stop, we got to start all over because this is how it has to begin, and then. Or is it?
Well,
or is it something
yeah,
like
I mean,
that?
with you,
we
it
have
seems-
two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me just throw this out
Yeah,
here.
all
get
right,
some.
all right.
So Timmy brings a song, and I can pick it up quickly. That's what I realize.
It baffles me how quick.
Well, you're
And-
extremely talented.
Well, that's actually
It's
that's
always
super
like, tell
kind,
me the
but-
notes, and I have to cheat and look at my tuner because I don't know what the fuck I'm playing. I'm just
But
like,
what
I
I
don't know
think
the notes. What do you
where
mean?
it all comes from is back to our original musical interests. In a period of a day, I might listen to Bill Laswell, James Blood Ulmer. I might listen to some speed metal or like the new Sleep album, which I completely love, and so or Sebadoh or Dinosaur Jr. or Metz or there's so much out there, and then I think that gets filtered through my brain and through the things that I write. I'm not purposefully trying to be genre because while I respect that, there's just too much going on. And so what comes out is just a menagerie of these sounds that influence me, and I feel that Timmy's kind of the same way because it's so eclectic. We don't have a certain sound, and a lot of bands that I like don't necessarily have a certain band, like Tweakbird. Does Tweakbird have could you call it rock? I mean,
Yeah, I know.
it's kind of just out there. So
It's like melodic, catchy, but it's heavy.
right,
That's how I see Tweakbird
yeah,
because they just the way what they do and the baritone and
the drummer.
their voices.
So
play a
yeah,
lot.
and so then when the songs come, Timmy will have an idea. He'll show me. He'll play it, and I'll write down the notes, and then we'll play it, and then we'll figure it out over a couple practices. Sometimes we'll have the whole song down in one practice.
Yeah, we'll just learn it. Yeah,
and then we
because
just
a lot of
craft
times,
from there.
like when I write a song, it'll be like a couple of parts that I get kind of dialed in, like some ideas that fit together. I'll get them really dialed, and then I just play those ideas together until like maybe something else just more like
Sort of just
I just
happens.
come upon something that like for example, you could just like take a riff and just basically play it backwards. You just play whatever. I mean, there's so many dumb little things you can do to just like spice up whatever it is you're trying. Because sometimes you just do it by accident. You're like, oh, nifty. You know what I mean? Like then I've said. I mean, it just happened to me. Because we're always writing. It's the thing that I like about Scott is that we always like take time to remember all our older songs and all our semi newer stuff, and then all the new stuff. We try to always cycle through them at practice so we don't completely forget them. But in the meantime, we're constantly like he's always throwing ideas and songs at me that I'm trying to learn right now, and
It shapes.
vice versa. And
Exactly.
we write them down and just try to.
And you guys just work back and forth until you are like, that's it. We're done. That's the next song.
Or he'll help like formulate how the parts go, because that's the other thing we don't like to do is like we don't really like to have a formula or like a recipe to like write a
perfect
song. You know what I mean? Like we don't like to
Yeah.
have a certain order that songs like a standard order.
And
Like
with
verse,
and
chorus,
with that
verse.
too is like there isn't a leader. I mean, I feel Timmy is an incredible songwriter. And what's cool about playing music with him is he'll show me the roots, and then I get to play the bass that I want. And there isn't, an ordered structure. So that is really cool in itself. And we're both very receptive to one another making suggestions, which is really helpful, because I can't profess to have to know exactly what's going on with things that I write. And another ear, hey, why don't you try this? Like, we're going to play a song that I've been playing a very long time, and I always played it this one way as an example. And Timmy's like, why don't you just go up half a step? And it changed the song. And from here on out, it will always
will
go.
You play the way you used to? Just that four chord riff? Or?
Yeah, so it was just before it was... Just a D. Just a D chord.
Just a D chord.
And now it goes... So just stepping up right there.
It certainly adds a lot of character.
Spice and flavor. And that's what's great is back and forth.
Yeah, and he was cool with it. I was
Heck
like, hey, I
yeah. got
got this idea, check it out. And he was like, dude, that works really well. I like
better.
how it just like adds this whole new element to that part.
Yeah.
Huh.
Which is cool. So same with the drum beats, man. I mean, I just basically sit down by myself in here and mic my drum kit up and record beats.
You see that list right there behind him? How many are up there?
It looks like
The
to
one
me
top
50
right?
to 75.
This
Yeah.
is the one right here.
Maybe
Yeah.
a little bit more than
So I'll show up and Timmy will have all these beats already written and we'll
Those
sit
are all
down
beats that I've written that
that.
have
58 on one sheet.
and then we'll figure it out.
There's like several others on another.
So basically,
Probably
I just
3
like
times
sit
that.
down and play beats and try to emulate different styles of drumming and try to make it interesting, because it's like, I know that a lot of people have like loop phobias, and I get it. I don't want to overuse effects too much, and I don't want to just.
I think that there's a balance in between, Tim. I think that I feel like it's okay to use effects and it's okay to use loops and everything, but the way that you guys do it is not the industry standard. I mean, you're taking a whole acoustic drum set and looping it into your pedal, correct?
Yeah.
And then using that to give you the opportunity to grab the guitar and wreak havoc.
Well, and that's the other. I mean, I like the uncertainty. I like uncertainty. I mean, I'm gonna just say it. I don't like to know exactly what the fuck is gonna happen all the time, man, because that just gets stale and boring. And there's so much stale shit in the world already that I feel like our lives get convoluted by all this stuff that doesn't fucking matter. And so where I'm going with that is with the beats, it's like, I don't write the beats to go. There's maybe been 3 beats that I actually wrote to try to go with a guitar part. After I wrote a guitar part, that I just all of a sudden I came up with something. I'm like, holy fuck, I need a beat for this before, I gotta. But typically, the beats aren't written to go with any of the songs. That's another. It's like a mixture between potluck and bingo. I mean, I don't know how else to fucking say it, because you're like.
Sometimes
There's all
you
this
just
stuff
nail
to
it,
choose from.
Yeah,
Like all these different
Yeah.
foods.
This is
So
what-
you're like building your own libraries to choose from.
Yeah,
I've messed
fully.
around
You're
with
just
some drum machines and some loops, and and Aaron, I'm sure, certainly has as well. And you're kind of flipping through, and you're like, oh, wait, and you adjust it a little, and you're like, all of a sudden, you formulated something you've never thought of before,
Yeah.
and you're like,
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what happens.
I don't even know. What is this music in my head?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you want to play it, and
Yeah.
you want to express it, and I think it's a very unique feeling to hear something that you haven't ever heard before in your head.
Yes. And then to be able to try to
Process
play
it,
it and
play it, and replicate it. But by the time I don't know if audiographics even a word, but I couldn't even say that I have an audiographic memory. I think I have a good audio library in my mind, but
yeah.
I don't think that I could ever replicate what I'm hearing in my head the way that I heard it. But whatever I've created from what I've heard in my head is also incredible.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And that's the same
In the real form.
Yeah, and that
The
just
physical
made,
form. Yeah.
That just made me think of something too interesting. It's like, I have mad respect for all the musicians in town and all the musicians I've never even seen that just totally just shred and just hit hard on the drums and with authority. Just it's like inspiring because I don't even know how to play cover songs. I can't learn cover songs. I don't know. It took me so long to try to learn a cover because I don't guitar playing's like this other thing to me. I just feel like I have so much growing to do still that it's humbling to. I mean, I do what I do and I try to do it in my own special way and stuff, but I just constantly feed off of all the other badasses that are a part of this community that, I mean, like I said, if I would have moved to Montana and been exposed, because I really moved here for the mountains and for that lifestyle of just it was really laid back here and stuff compared to the East Coast. I had no idea what, I literally packed this drum set up because it's a 7-piece kit, but I stuffed it full of all my fucking clothes. I took the bottom heads off and I stuffed all my clothes in there, and I moved out here with my girlfriend in this car, and I brought my acoustic guitar and all my drum shit stuffed completely full with all my stuff, put the heads back on, came out here, and I never left. And
That's
I just
fucking badass.
had no
Such a
idea.
cool story. You guys
I had no idea that there was even a music scene here, and then I discovered a filling station and saw Boss Hog and Manor Astro
John
Man and all these
Spencer.
John Spencer, all these bands that blew my mind, and I didn't even know this place existed. I just put my finger on the map, and I'm I'm gonna go to Bozeman, and
That is so cool.
so I still have the drums, and I'll never get rid of them. I mean, I'm a
cool.
musical hoarder.
No, you shouldn't. So, what do you guys have next for us?
Well, the next one will be Creamer.
This is one Scotty wrote.
To go, intuition, and you know. Into life, where things go, always new, every show. To stay, close to go, intuition, and you know, eyes can't taste the pain within, stumble by with a wrinkle grin.
Absolutely incredible.
Broke sweat on that one, boys.
Ooh, that was fun.
That was fun.
That was awesome. You know, I didn't know if I was going to get the chance to see it tonight, where you actually take the skateboard and like sing, growl,
Scream into it.
something with force and like energy, and it like, it's probably one of my favorite parts of watching you guys play.
Thanks, dude.
But-
I was just talking to Aaron about that action, and just before we played the song about
that's
how
awesome.
all the skate guitars are like that. Not by, it was accident, because.
So how
I
did you
just-
discover that you could like yell into it and it would do that?
I think it was during a practice.
Yeah, because I was talking to Scotty through my mic, and my guitar was picking it up, and I could hear it because I had a delay on. I could hear it through my guitar, and I'm like, holy shit. So then I like screamed into this top little split right here where the boards come together because they're not like tight.
Yeah.
And it picked it up, and I'm like, holy shit. So then I figured out, well, dude, there's like a screamer hole back there, but they all had it because I built them all the same way, not knowing.
Yeah.
So they all like, you can scream through them, and,
Screamer.
which is really cool.
Can you do that for us right now? Is your guitar
I like
on, right?
accidents, man. Like good accidents.
Yeah, it's a happy accident.
Happy
It's a
accident.
good accident.
Aaron with like
Creative.
just a demonstration of just the scream.
You want?
Yeah,
Yeah.
your guitar's on, right?
Yeah.
You got
I'll
it.
do like a clean scream and then a distorted scream.
Okay, sure. It's too much. I love
Sonic
it.
horn.
That's
So
amazing.
cool.
Incredible. It's incredible.
So cool.
So yeah, that's just something. It's fun to do too.
Oh,
I think that's like incredibly unique. Like, no one's got
I've
shit on
wanted
that.
to do it since I seen you do it, and I've tried in a couple of my pickups, but I'm like, oh man, I'd have to have the feedback so loud for it to like really catch. And I'm like, that's okay. I'll just go watch you do it instead.
The skate guitars are like a semi-hollow body.
Yeah,
With a
yeah,
port.
for sure.
Super cool.
Yeah.
You know, they're ported.
Yeah, because I reversed they're concaved, and I just turned them opposite of each other, so the concave is like opposite, so it creates like that membrane, so the electronics can float in there.
Yeah.
And then I just needed a little bit more space so that the the electronics would.
Did you have to use like the wider spacers for like dirt wheels and stuff, or did you just use like standard spacers?
You mean for these?
In between the two, in between the first deck and like the second deck,
Oh.
it seems like there's a little bit wider of a gap.
Yeah, it's just the way that the boards have a different concave that I
Oh,
used,
yeah,
and they're
okay.
all like twisted different and shit. And so, like, I put a skate grommet in this one to compensate
Oh, a
for
skate grommet.
Yeah,
Oh,
that little
okay.
piece right there. And then, I just traced shapes. This one I wanted to kind of look like a bomb.
No, it's so cool.
Kind of looks like a bomb, but I didn't want them. The other weird thing about it is that the holes of the skateboard match up to the holes in the guitar neck. So I just literally
remember you
that's
telling
one.
me that.
Wild.
That's like one of
Since that first night I met you guys, I remember you telling me that.
yeah.
and
That's like one of the
it
first
stuck
steps.
in my
is-
head. I was like,
That's pretty
If I
wild,
ever
yeah.
do it, I have to do it because that's just so cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's
I don't know if
definitely-
that's in my abilities or not.
I think so. I think it just takes a little time. I mean, when I get a call from Timmy, he's like, I'm starting a skate guitar. and then the next day I'm done with the skate guitar.
Yeah, it's insane.
I just have to tweak it. Literally, it's that
Yeah,
quick.
like this one I have right now, says I already built 2 of them, you know. This one took me, I became obsessed with it. I like started it and was just like, holy shit, you know, this thing is actually looking pretty damn good with 3 humbuckers. I traced the pick guard for the SG because it had 3 humbuckers. So I traced the SG pick guard and just cut it out, and the pickups just fit perfectly in there. And then I just wire it. You know, first thing I do is like screw the neck to the bottom, to the middle board, you know, because there's a spacer, and then I just make sure that all the electronics work before I string it up. I like, of all things, scream into the freaking pickups because, you know, that's how you test these things without strings on it. You just fucking scream into it, and you're like, yeah, the pickups are working, man. My voice is like coming through. So that's kind of how I know if I fucked up the electronics or not. Because like I said, it's like Frankenstein meets like the Corpse Bride or something, you know, like.
Fooled me.
And I touched on this earlier, but I just want to re-point it out. They all have personalities. Like the first one that Timmy built, it's very temperamental. Feeds back a lot.
Oh, it's
got its
feedback
own
machine.
personality.
Yeah.
And then every one after that, the next 2, they like matured a little bit, you know, with the completion of the creature.
I just got to say that probably between all 3 of them, I think I've spent under $100 to build all 3 of them.
Yes.
And I spent most of that.
That's so
most of that
awesome.
money was strings and bridges. Everything else has been stripped off of old amp, like these cool chicken head knobs, or like off an old crappy amp that I got from Nate.
There's
Nice.
a little tiny skate.
Yeah, I got
little
skate
tiny
wheels
skate
from
wheel.
a tech deck that was like, it was like a
It just
turbo
fit.
tech deck, but
Tech
I
deck.
used the wheels for you know, my volume
skate.
knobs.
So cool.
Yeah.
So I think we're probably gonna get close to wrapping it up.
You bet.
Are there any like people or places or
Other bands.
that you guys would like to recognize or support or give a little
Like a
special
thank you.
shout out or a thank you to? Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
locally, I think it's every
take
band.
your time.
I think every band that we've been able to play with in the last 4 years, definitely the Tingle Hoarders and Mike Wykes and Cannabis, and we played with Liquid Colors last Halloween, which was rad, and the Goners and Love Darts and the Permians and Nate 9000, Bearcat. Yeah, in fact, playing Nate's birthday party years and years ago. The dude from Harrison, Evan, yeah,
Evan,
rock
yep.
and roll Evan. Seriously, rock and roll Evan.
Trying to think of who else. I just
Goners.
like to say personal
Might have said that already.
I don't know.
thanks to like anybody I've ever like had the opportunity locally to play music with, or that's asked me to like sit in and play music with them, or anything, you know, just making me feel like I'm a part of it all, you know, because that means a lot too. Just that's like our biggest thing as a band is we want to play live. We just always want to write, and our biggest thing is we just want to play as many live shows as we can, and you know, support other bands and play every show like it's our last. And
That's what's so cool about the whole
That's
punk
so
thing.
cool.
Going back is just that it's inclusive,
yeah, it
you
is.
know, and creative, and there's a lot of different avenues, and that's what really turned me on to it originally. Was just that whole idea is that you can do this, you
Yeah,
can put
yeah.
energy into it, and
Yep.
it's all valid, which is really important.
Yep, that goes back so far. Like I was saying, I was in that punk band back in '86. The you know, I would love to just give a shout out to all of those guys: Don Vincenti, Dan Gallagher, Bill Shreves, Andy Stout, Jeremy Barbario, and Jeremy's extended family, because they literally recorded our first cassette in their basement and showed all us kids that like we made a cassette and we put it out and we made, we played shows and they helped us do it. And
We did it.
yeah,
Right?
I mean, that was like huge. Like those guys literally taught me how to play music and how to stick with it. Cause all those guys still play. Every single one of my good friends / bandmates from back in Pennsylvania are all still evolving as musicians, and that's like probably been one of the biggest influences on me that I didn't even know about. And the guys I was in Swiss Family Parkinson's with, I mean, that was another thing that where the band joined from an open mic night.
That's
like,
so cool.
We like skeezed in on this dude that was putting on the open mic night and gave him like a 4-track demo we made of just guitar and drums of all these songs. And we're like, you're going to play bass. And he's like, I'm a guitar player. We're like, exactly, bass guitar. And so like he did it. He was a badass bass player, but he's even more of a badass guitar player and just another massive influence. Gorski's a massive influence. I mean,
Back right
straight
at you,
up,
Bowers. Yeah.
like dude has pushed me to live. It's one thing to like say I wrote a song, but it's another thing to learn someone else's song. I mean, I never knew because I'm a fresh guitar player. I've never been in another band besides this, so I've never, actually like had a real guitar player being like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
Which is rarely said.
I've what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's like a huge learning curve as a musician, and there's just like all these different levels.
It's never ending, right?
Yeah.
No, that's what's really, really great
It's
about
never
it.
ending.
Yeah, as long as you can harness your bravery and get out there and just go for it, I think that's really instrumental, is just taking a chance. And, what have you got to lose? If you have an interest in it, just get after it, and it's going to be what it is.
And the cool thing about music, too, it's like a lot of other things you do in life, like either mentally or physically beat the shit out of you to the point where you're just like, what the fuck?
It's a lot more
Why
cathartic.
am I even fucking here? Like, what's the point of this shit?
Yeah.
So with music, it's like, I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like this whole other thing that a lot of people don't get to ever experience, just being able to play an instrument or write a song, even if it is a song that's just played in the back corner of my garage with Scotty or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just like motivation.
It's like a super, for me, it's like a super, go on.
No, I was just the whole thing to end it was just the fact that you can play music till you die. It's like, it's not going to beat you up.
Yeah.
It's like, if lugging heavy gear around is like the harshest thing I got to do and I'm around 70, I can still kind of like wheel my fucking gear around half-assed and be able to like play some music, I'll be fucking stoked. You know what I mean? Like, if I could possibly ride a skateboard still at 70, that'd be great too. But
I don't know. That might be pushing
I mean,
it.
that's why music is just such
Some
another.
people can. Some people can't.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
But it's like music just doesn't hurt. It's,
Yeah.
I think it's like
Concrete
a superpower.
hurts.
It's like something during the day when I'm having to slog through the day. I can go home and play my bass, or I can start my day with a cup of coffee and playing bass for 5 minutes before I have to go to work. And it's pretty incredible.
There's been many times just where work has sucked, or just some collaboration of total suck has formulated its plan against me for the day. And I come home and I literally come down here and I'm like, rediscover these beats that I fucking forgot I even wrote. And I'm like, oh, that's fucking cool, man. Maybe, that sometimes even sparks an idea for a song. Just listening to a drum beat and like tooling around with it with like bar chord progressions or like whatever it may be. It's just, it's like relieving to just forget, to be in that moment and forget about the bullshit that just sucks. It's like pretty simple. A lot of people would just think, dude, you don't have anything better to fucking do than that. But to me,
it's pretty liberating, though.
Yeah, I mean,
and you can make the jump. I remember like a long time ago going to see bands and never making the connection that I actually could do that. And then I met this guy, Jim Dungan, who lives here still. We wound up playing guitar together in Crate Washer. and like watching him rock and realizing, whoa, I can do this. And then meeting friends like Paul Mason and Darren Crabtree and starting Great Washer and playing that, like getting our instruments and literally 3 months later playing at the Filler. Just like, what? Just go for it. Just write songs and you can bridge over. If you have an interest, you can make it happen. And that's pretty special.
You know what's special? I got to jam with his bandmates.
That
at
was
my
a
house.
super cool.
The drummer Darren came over and
Yeah.
we just rocked out and improv'd, and it was fucking.
And then we went and played
Then
the
we
Black
played-
Bear.
We played a
with
show
Paul.
with actually.
Yeah.
We played a semi reunion show with.
Yeah,
the
Timmy was
guitar
on the
player, and
drums.
I played drums, and I like. Scotty gave me a couple of cassettes, and I burned the cassettes down to CD because I have the capabilities here at the studio to tatscape. So
That was insane. That
So
was
I
fun as
basically
hell.
made a CD, and I like, what songs would you want me to learn? And I learned a bunch of the songs just sitting here with the headphones on, and we played, and we actually got some pictures from that night. And he played my skate guitar. I was really stoked. I'm like,
That's so
sweet,
cool.
man.
Yeah.
Like, I get to see what that goddamn thing looks like.
In action.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
looks
it's nice
super
to
cool.
see somebody
Yeah.
else to be able to like play that thing and be like, okay, it's not just a piece of junk. Like somebody else can play it. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's far from junk.
You know what I mean?
totally
It
know
could
what
have
you
been
guys
wall
mean.
art, really. I mean, it was just like, it was luck. 90% luck, 10% skill. No, 5% skill and 5% YouTube videos.
A lot of
what is
inspiration.
Google, what is scale length?
Right.
No,
Right.
seriously, I just
Yeah.
looked shit up on YouTube and
Yeah.
figured out how to measure scale lengths and everything, so I set it up proper so my intonation
Nice.
and everything was right, because I didn't know, I'm a drummer. I've always just set up and tuned drums, dude. That's a lot different than building a fucking guitar that actually like tunes and plays. So
You've been fooling me all night. I don't know. I would have said, oh yeah, you know how to build guitars. You like have like some master pedal things going on.
He like dances on these friggin' pedal boards, man.
and not only that, but like just like mad props with the drums. I mean, you weren't doing any acrobatics tonight, but
well, the best thing about that, it's like this whole other element. I get to like me and Scott get to like jam out in this whole other realm of like rhythm section. The guitar is
So cool.
fucking exempt. Occasionally, I loop it. Typically, I'll loop it depending on the song, and just the loops aren't like. Typically, the loops I make aren't like.
Yeah,
they're just
binding.
wild solos that
Yeah,
aren't.
sure.
They're not premeditated. They're just they are what they are, and if I hit some sour notes, that's just I deal with it.
whatever. Oh,
I
nobody's
guess
perfect.
everybody else does too, but
Yeah.
I guess
it's
where I'm
just the
going
two,
with that
yeah.
is then I get to step away from all that shit, and this is like a little more my comfort zone, just because I've been playing drums a lot longer than all this other stuff, and it's a lot more, it's intimidating.
Huh. So cool.
And the Whistle Pig.
There's the Whistle
Lotus
Pig,
Eaters.
I mean, we played some
Man.
of our best
Lotus
shows. We played with
Eaters?
Atomic
Yeah.
World. I got their sticker right down here. I mean,
And Closet Goth.
Closet
really
Goth and
two
those-
incredible bands.
Those were like two of our favorite shows. And
Atomic World was
Lotus put
insane.
it on, and
Yeah.
they invited us to play, and it was like
It was beautiful.
huge props, because like
Yeah.
Atomic World, meeting Kenji, like literally changed my life musically. Like watching him play, sharing the stage with him, and their drummer had like similar gadgetry going on with China Boys and just weird effects symbols, and it just totally got off on it. We got his art right there, that little framed piece of artwork. He hooked Gorski up with that.
Right there.
Oh,
With the-
nice.
We like bought all of their CDs, and I
I
literally
listened to them hundreds
dude,
of times.
I listened to that shit. It worked to the point where I could tell that people were just like, "What in the fuck is this grindcore shit, dude?"
Yeah.
Because it's like melodic grindcore. I can't even explain
And
what
free jazz.
free
It's
jazz melodic
crazy.
grindcore. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
kind of shit that. I mean, that's massive motivation for me to just want to like do what we do and
Keep playing.
try. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And be glad that we have the ability and the
The space.
the places to do it. I mean,
This is a pretty inspiring space.
I grew up in a town where there's still, after I've been out of that town for 25 years, and the reason I left is because there was nothing there musically. There was no venues. You had to go travel all over bumfuck Egypt on the East Coast, which is no fun because it's just a megalopolis back there. It's like you can't get away from the next town. There it is. You leave one town and you're in the next fucking town. It's just they're all so. Point being, coming out here and just having like all this
Open
like
space.
exposure to play music and just more venues coming in and better bigger bands rolling through and smaller bands and local bands and
We've always, I gotta say, this has always been a pretty special place for music because I got turned on to punk rock in like '85, and then that next year the Meat Puppets played. Fugazi came through on their first tour. Mike Watt with Firehose came through. Sonic Youth a couple times. Steel Pole Bathtub. Bands.
those are lots of
Incredible bands. There was a guy here back in the day, Joe Howard, who brought all these bands in. So for being in Little Bozeman in the '80s, being able to see these people now that are considered to be, like the godfathers of punk rock to a certain degree in their own way, was pretty incredible. This is a very special place for music.
Yep. I do have to give props to the guy, the band I was in right before I moved here broke up because one of our guitar players he almost died in a car wreck, and he just got totally fucked up, and it was just like we were done. He had like a crushed sternum and broken femur. I mean, he was fucked up. And but before that, leading up to that, we got hooked up with a record deal with this really small, just DIY. They were called Significant Records. But where I'm going with that is the guy put on all these shows. It's like not only did he let us record, and he hooked us up with this, they gave us the money. They gave us like $500 and like they gave us like 250 copies of the vinyl, and we got colored vinyl. And we recorded it through fucking George Thorogood's soundboard, which was totally random from this guy named Big Al Cox. But yeah, that was his name, Big Al Cox. We just like came in and played like 4 songs live, and he was just like, "What the fuck, man?" Like, we just blew through the songs because we had like no fucking budget, so we were just like we practiced the 4 songs, and we had 1 extra to go on like some compilation CD. But we pulled it off. We like stayed under time, and they were just like, "Sweet, man, you guys you did it, man. There's no bullshit." They're like, "Yeah, cool," because we don't want to play those songs any fucking more because we played them like 900 times each to get to this fucking point. But the guy that was the record guy put on all these shows, and we got to open up for Fugazi in like 1991.
Oh, no way.
And we played with the Bouncing Souls.
Cool.
And we opened up for Clutch. That was another one that was like
super badass.
Which was
now they're super
they were
band.
Just bros. They were just dudes
just
from
buddies,
Baltimore.
just like us. I mean, you guys mentioned that they were the grandfathers of rock or punk rock. I mean, that's what I feel like all the bands that we're currently interviewing are for the next generation,
Oh, yeah, for sure, man.
And if not the next generation, the one after that, because somebody's going to hear it.
It's a continuum, which is really cool. It just keeps going.
Well,
so many fresh bands.
It's just like the family of music. It's, my kids play music, and I didn't try to force whatever I like on them. They like what they like, and they like things I like. I like a lot of shit they like. They've turned me on to tons of music I would have never, ever even thought of listening to. So they're like a huge influence on me. My kids playing guitar and violin and writing beats on FL Studio and just doing all this different stuff. It's like
That's super cool.
He's kind of like trying to defy genres too. So I've been trying to get him to write us some beats, so I can like
that would be great.
Collaborate with him and write a drum beat with his whatever he does.
Super cool.
Mm-hmm.
A little more persuasion. But yeah, I'm kind of rambling, but music just gets me stoked, and it's like what we were talking about with all the bands that are influenced in the future. It's like if we just keep doing what we're doing, we're them because we're doing it. It's like.
There's no reason to stop.
Yeah. So one last question before I let you guys give your grand finale song. If you guys could hope to hear another band on this show, who would you guys like to hear on the show in the future? One band each. That we haven't done. I'll let you know if you didn't.
This is a Missoula band.
Okay.
Power Station.
Power Station. Okay.
No,
We-
power plant. It's
Power-
power plant.
Power Plant.
Power
Yeah.
Power
Plant.
Plant.
Duh. Power Plant. They're a two-piece. We played with them in at the Julia Louise Drive Fest last year, saxophone and drums, and he's got a lot of music online, and they blew me away. Even though I forgot their name or got it wrong.
Power Plant.
Power
I
Plant.
somehow remembered I'm usually the guy that's like, hey, Johnny. It's fucking,
But locally, I mean, can I have two bands?
Sure,
All right,
good.
so that's the out-of-town band. The local band,
we,
I would have.
we would love to have him if we could make it happen.
I have his phone number.
Oh, we'll definitely get it from you.
Okay. Local band would probably be probably like Scavenger.
Oh yes.
Scavenger. I got to tell my Scavenger story. So like I like certain types of metal. Like to me, metal is the Melvins, you know. And then and I think
Love
I
the
was met with
Melvins.
a little bit of skepticism at first from the members of Scavenger, because I would be like, that really rocks, and they would just look at me. But a lot of time has passed since then, and I have to say, I love Scavenger. The members of Scavenger, the music they make, they are mind-blowing. Every time I see them, I'm like, holy shit. They're such unique personalities, and yeah, they're just super cool. So that's my Bozeman vote.
Do you know what I love about Scavenger the most?
What's that?
How incredibly fat their music sounds.
Yeah.
It's just like, boo,
Yeah.
boo, every note,
all them
every
goddamn
single
speakers.
note. And then you're like, it might be the giant speakers. I don't know. I mean, I try to
Super talented.
I try to think it's the musicians, but
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I gotta say,
what they do through those speakers is fucking incredible.
I
Absolutely.
gotta say, being the drummer in that band, first of all, it was a huge honor to be asked because of just the circumstances. Their drummer left, and they're all my buddies, so I knew the music anyway, and they just asked me, and I'm like, fuck yeah.
Super cool.
But dude, watching those guys play guitar while I play drums is another huge influence. I want to just give shout outs to Brent and Joey and Ben, because they all are real good players, and the stuff that they write, if I had to play it on guitar, I would wither, I would crumble, and I would hide behind my suitcases low, like in a G.I. Joe crawl.
And this is like a non-paid advertisement for Orange amps. As much as I love Timmy's Mesa amp, it has its own unique sound. The first time I ever really heard an Orange, I was like, wow, I
Yeah.
can see why people play
I
Orange
played
amps.
through Joey's Orange half stack because I didn't want to lug
It's
gear.
incredibly
And we
crunchy.
played together with Tourettes and Scavenger,
Yeah.
and so
Couple
I set
weeks
up,
ago.
yeah, and it was
Mind blowing.
yeah, it was really like
Yeah, it's amazing.
I think I turned it up to like 2. I mean, seriously, I don't.
Yeah.
And I was just using stage volume too. I wasn't
Yeah.
like mic'd or anything.
Yeah.
We were just using our stage sound
it was
too.
incredible.
Nice.
Yeah, granted, I got a lot of pre-gain going on here with my
Sure,
pedal board,
sure.
but still, it's like I never realized the difference in tone between the Mesa, because I actually got that from Joey too.
I think the Mesa is just a deeper, fatter tone.
Yeah, for sure.
And I feel like the orange is kind of more like bright in your face.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't think that I don't have any problem with an orange amp. I think that it's perfect for a type of music. I think for another instance of playing something like an acoustic guitar player might never be able to use an orange amp, but
Right. It seems to be almost like I think you're absolutely right. It is a certain type of sound. Like the Mesa's got this thick, syrupy,
it's very
electric.
it's very fat.
very exactly. And Orange is definitely more
Bright and in your face.
abrasive, but it still has a nice warm feeling. It's just a bright, warm feeling.
So cool.
Yeah,
You're
Timmy, you got one local band to pick
Yeah.
for us to possibly interview.
It's crazy. One I would say is Stoneman's Way, which they used to be 6P3. They're playing at the Hoff April 25th or something.
Sweet.
A couple of my old bandies. I
Have to check that
played
out.
some drums with those dudes and grew up with a couple of them, and they moved out here and stayed.
Super cool.
Yeah, but they write all original stuff, you know. And
Yeah, definitely. Cool. Well, we're going to let these guys play one more song, and this is it.
Our day is coming soon. Can live in peace without oppressors. Billy Goat gets gruffer, spreading anti on your vibe.
That was Timmy and the Tourettes. Thank you and good night.
Thank you.
Or good morning.
Thanks.
Or good day.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Vincent.
Thank you.
And if you're still sticking around, make sure you check us out on Facebook for updates on any new bands that we might be interviewing, and to check out the site, obviously, and like, subscribe, sign up for that shit. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Nice.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Don't forget, you can also blog, forum, gear trade, do all those other sorts of shit, post your memes, dumb shits. Also, promoters, post your shows on our site. Someone will see it.